1 week complete for the Montreal Canadiens. 4 games out of 82. What's that fraction? I cannot do the math, but I'm here with Justin. My name is Mackie. Together we are the No Respect Podcast. And here are the 4 things that we have learned after 4. And if you want to tell us what you've learned after 4, please don't be shy. Click like, subscribe, do all of those things if you may. Habs content, you've come to the right place. Justin, let's start with number 1. What is the first thing we've learned?
The first thing we'd learn is that Kaden Guhle is NHL ready. And I think these 4 games have just demonstrated that. Like, he looks like a veteran defenseman already. He's playing veteran defenseman minutes on the top pairing. And it's crazy that he's only 4 games into his NHL career and he's already playing like this.
The pick was contested. Let's just say that. Kaden Guhle, when picked under the Marc Bergevin regime, under Trevin Timmins, there was cause for concern with some of the track record that was remaining from that group and that leadership core. But today, those questions, I feel, have been completely answered. And Kaden Guhle, we have found ourselves a player. Okay. Slavkovsky has not necessarily had the hottest start. He's had flashes, but Kaden Guhle on the opposite end of the spectrum here, he's in his second year. He went back to the Ontario Hockey League where he dominated, or was it the Western Hockey League?
Western
Do we know
Hockey
that
League,
detail?
yeah.
Western Hockey League, my apologies, with the Edmonton Oil Kings, and absolutely crushed it. And coming in with that same crushing mentality in terms of cardio, physique, lettuce even, this is a player that I'm excited for. And for a team that doesn't have a Joel Edmondson right now, Mike Matheson that was supposed to fill the fatherly shoes of Jeff Petrie, who had himself with 3 penalties against the Pittsburgh Penguins. I'm telling you, this guy is the real deal. I don't know how much further to elaborate because we need to see more. Obviously, it's not going to be perfect the whole time, but his teammates are excited, the fan base excited. What are you expecting from this player moving forward after a week of play?
Yeah, I mean, I think what we've seen so far is like the best case scenario. And I don't know about you, but I was thinking that Kaden Guhle was kind of like a safe like not necessarily stay at home, but big body defenseman that kind of like would just be solid, not necessarily offensively minded. But what I've seen so far is he's good on the breakout passes. He's seems like he can work the point. Like, he's had 2 assists in Pittsburgh. I think he has the whole package. Like, if he can put it together, and he's been doing great with David Savard too, who I think is a good kind of mentor figure for him. And kind of playing well with him, be like letting him take the offensive role and coming back when they need to. So yeah, I think the offensive side to him is something that not everyone expected, but it's great that we're seeing part of that game coming out now.
Completely agree. It's an exciting time to be Kaden Guhle because this man has been given the keys to the city. Next up, the second thing that we've learned, and this one we had discussed, but Monahan is alive and well and has been stolen, absolutely stolen. We can now confirm that this was a steal of a fucking deal. I don't care if it's 4 games in. It's too good of a package to be given Sean Monahan a first-round pick for what was in that deal? All right, nothing. The Habs were gifted this package, and Sean Monahan, after battling with the problematic hips, has resurrected, fixed the hips, and he is using them like a Spanish flamenco dancer. He is all over the ice. He's got great vision, and this is a little bit of the player that we saw in Calgary that was on a line with Johnny Gaudreau, and this time around helping Kirby Dack get that first goal within the Montreal Canadiens uniform in OT in a comeback fashion against the Pittsburgh Penguins. What do you think about Sean here?
I mean, I think he's been one of our best forwards, maybe not from a point getting perspective, but he's been solid all around, and he obviously got that game winning assist last night against Pittsburgh. Um, but obviously he has like the $6 million contract, but that doesn't really affect us because obviously we're not really looking to build a contender and looking to add on contracts. But this will be a great move potentially at the deadline if we don't look to keep Monahan for the long term. This is the kind of guy that can get you like the first rounders, the first and second, third type deals. Like this is a if he continues to be a good player, obviously it's been 4 games, he can be a big name at the deadline. So that's what I'm looking forward to if we're going to the rebuild mode and going for more picks at the deadline. So I don't know if you agree with that or if you want to maybe keep him for the future.
That's a difficult question, to be honest, because Sean Monahan, man, if he stays in this shape, like we're talking about like a very good
He's a
center.
30 goal.
And
He's a 30 goal scorer. Like he can
we
be a consistent 30 goal scorer.
we saw what happened when we let go of a Philly Dano that only had 4 goals with us and then transformed into a 30 goal scorer in LA. Now, I'm not saying that it's necessarily the same thing because the defensive play of Sean Monahan does not match that of Dano, but we saw what it means to have a reliable, maybe a second, even third line center that can chip in offensively, that fits well with your group. It's not easy to find. Now, yes, we have an overload of centers, but I wouldn't be so fast unless the package is absolutely ridiculous for Sean Monahan. I'm keeping my ears open to keeping him, and as long as the deal obviously makes sense and it's nothing that's egregious. So we shall see it for Sean Monahan, but
But
I really like what he's done.
correct me if I'm wrong, but has he been playing center for the Habs? Because I think he's been playing wing, right? So
He's been
far?
doing a little bit of both. He's been
Yeah.
doing a little
Okay.
bit of both because, like last game, he was with Dak and I think he was with what's his name, Anderson too. So there was like it's been a little bit of like a duo like finding thing that Marty St. Louis has talked about. But the thing is, you always can put a center on the wing. You can never
Yeah.
put a wing at the center. It just
Exactly.
doesn't work.
It's
So
a good problem
very
to have
valuable.
too many centers.
Yes,
All right.
that coming from Montreal Canadiens fans,
Yeah.
it's a bit weird. What's the third thing we learned after a week?
I mean, it's just the utter dominant chemistry of Cole Caulfield and Nick Suzuki. I don't think I mean, to me, I didn't learn this. Maybe I learned to do math and learn how to extrapolate these results of Caulfield being on pace for 60 goals after 4 games and Suzuki being on pace for over 100 points. So maybe that's what I've learned. But this is just par for the course for what we saw last year and hopefully what we're going to see for, I mean, years to come and the rest of the season.
It's confirmed on the No Respect podcast. Caulfield will be scoring 60 goals. That's right. Matthews did it last year.
Confirmed.
Big
Easy.
whoop. Big whoop. Okay. Caulfield is 3-4 now. 3-4. No biggie. And Suzuki, he's been having some, again, the Habs have had a weird start. They've had like a super entertaining game with a couple of lulls and then another super entertaining game. So we shall see. But the two things that we see from Suzuki and from Caulfield is, like you said, they're stepping from where they left off last season when Marty St. Louis took over this team and basically told them, go out there, play your game. Suzuki with the C is looking phenomenal.
Yeah.
And Caulfield on his wing is also looking fresh as hell.
And
So it's just working.
a little stat for you: since February 10th of last year, when Marty St. Louis took over, Caulfield has 25 goals. You know how many? Do you know who else has 25 goals in that time?
Is it McJesus?
It's just the best player in the world, Connor
No
McDavid.
biggie. No big deal. That's right. That's
So
right. Now, is this going to continue for real on a more serious note? You let us know. What is the actual kind of pacing that you see for Suzuki and Caulfield? 102 and 60 would be crazy.
yeah,
That is that even for overly optimist for us is a hard one to reach.
I mean,
I'm looking at
keep in
40
mind
for Caulfield.
40.
Are
Yeah,
you thinking 40? Are you looking at 40 for him at least?
no, we've confirmed 60. I don't know why you're going back on it now, but I mean we've confirmed 60 goals already.
And
I
so
but
102 points for Suzuki.
I mean that's gonna be easy. Like it might be 200
Okay.
at this point. No, but
Okay. Gotcha.
more seriously, I think I don't want to make predictions and then I like my head is like I made the prediction, now he's gonna like suck for the rest of the games. But I think it's gonna be a comfortable 30 goal season for Caulfield if he stays healthy. And you're looking at me like that's like an insanely low number, but a 30 goal season
Yeah.
for a second year player is pretty damn good.
Yeah.
And yeah, I see Suzuki as hopefully going at least point per game. I hope that's my hope, but I mean under that will still be like acceptable for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, listen, the last thing that we need to mention, and this is surprising because this is not what was expected when you look at what the narratives were coming into this season. But the final point is the Habs fans are happier than Leafs fans, and the Leafs are coming off an atrocious loss to the Arizona Coyotes. If you haven't seen Steve Dangle's video, I invite you to do so. And it will give you a snapshot into the hearts, the disappointment, the disgruntledness of the fan base at this stage. And I can't blame them because, again, the number one rule when it comes to making people happy, I'll tell you this. This is a secret. Always undersell and always overperform. And the problem with the Maple Leafs at this stage is that they have been for the past, I think, 20 years overselling and underperforming.
Yes.
And so it's one of those things. I don't mean this as a hit to the fan base. It is just the reality of the situation. And I guess we could talk about this. Obviously, the Toronto Maple Leafs, I think, are under a tremendous amount of pressure. They came in with the same core. They fixed a tiny bit of the goaltending situation, at least in Kyle Dubas's eyes, with Samsonov as well as Matt Murray. Now, you have the same core. You're going in with the same recipe that hasn't worked for the past couple of years. What are your thoughts on what's going to happen with the Toronto Maple Leafs?
I mean, Matt Murray now is injured apparently for long term, so apparently that's at least 12 games or something like that, somewhere around there. So I mean, that's a tough blow for sure. I mean, but Toronto has a great team. No one can say different. Like they gotten their I think their record season last season for regular season points. So I think they're going to get to the playoffs no problem. To me, it's always been the problem of when you're in the playoffs, how do you perform there? And like how are they going to get over that hump with the same core, with the same kind of like revolving door of kind of like third and fourth liners coming in and veteran guys coming in. So I mean, I don't know, but what I said at the beginning of the season is that I don't think Matt Murray is the answer for their goaltending. And obviously his injury doesn't help, but that's not what we want to see. Hopefully he gets better and performs well for them. But yeah, I don't know. I think they're kind of like plugging holes, and that's really all they can do because their cap situation is so messed up. Like they have so many players that are like max contract almost players. So that's what kind of happens when you have that sort of team structure.
They are locked in. They are locked into this recipe, and if it doesn't work, oh, tabarnak mo
I
nan.
mean,
It's gonna.
Austin's going to Arizona, like 100%.
I mean, if it doesn't work this season, it's a real
If they're out
concern.
in the
Even
first round, he's gone.
you
He's
think
on a
it's
plane.
done,
He's on a plane.
because he did say to the media that he might stay. So I don't know. Well, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, but I know that in the hearts of the Toronto Maple Leafs, it's one of those seasons that even like these small, like they have no more leash. And the Montreal Canadiens have all the leash in the world, which is great because if you lose, it's like, all right, Connor Bedard, Mishkov, whoever it is, we're getting a top talent, which is exactly what the plan is. If we win, it shows there's growth in the group that we already had, and it's a beautiful surprise. It is a win-win situation unless you choose to look at it otherwise. Yes, you want to maybe get Connor Bedard. The chances of getting him are very low regardless. Like it can happen to the team that's in fifth last and you're the last place team and you still won't get him. So as long as the team, the product is getting in and getting better and it gets to the playoffs, I have no problem with that. If Cole Caulfield scores 60, as we confirmed, I have no problem getting into the playoffs. If Kirby Dack is going to be a massive power forward center like Ryan Getzlav with a bit better hands, I don't care. If Kaden Guhle is your number one guy and he transformed that in the 82 game season in his first fucking NHL thing, let it happen. Let us get to the playoffs and stop complaining.
I mean, I totally agree. I think the only thing I'd say is that if with our team now, if the players that are carrying our team are the kind of older guys, and the young players aren't the ones that are kind of driving this force of the team and us make the playoffs, then I don't think we should make the playoffs. I think the team should really be driven by the younger players and the development. And if they're getting more ready to make the playoffs and this rebuild is going faster than we expected, then sure, make the playoffs. Get these players the playoff experience. A lot of them don't have it, and nothing bad can come of it other than the picks. But the picks, I mean, when you're in the
Yeah.
middle of the pack, it's like it's crapshoot at that point. So
It's a great point. It's like do win the right way. Win at not at the expense of development, and I
mhm,
have zero problem. That
yeah,
like you can't win with like David Savard and Mike Hoffman and Christian Dvorak eating 30 minutes a night.
yeah,
That's not what we're asking for. If it's the pieces that are supposed to carry the torch that are making it happen, bring it on. And we shall see. And let us know what you think. These are the four things that we have learned. What have you learned in the past four games for the Montreal Canadiens? We are the No Respect Podcast. A quick shout out to Hockey Junkie, who started his own podcast. If you don't know who Hockey Junkie is, he has a great YouTube channel, but he's also starting content on the side. Want to shout him out. And then a couple of our commenters, as well as some people from our Discord server. I want to shout out Urban Youth. Which is, I think, Morgan Burton. We've got Rocky Hockey. We got some of it, as well as our friend Carl in Washington, who just went to the game. Huge shout out to you folks. And we shall see you in the next one. Go Habs, go. I hope your day is going better than a Leafs fan that just lost the Coyotes. We'll see you next time.